In New Haven, Connecticut, a charming small town where cobblestone streets weave through the energy of elite universities, history lingers in every corner. Tucked in a weathered resettlement district where peeling walls whisper tales of bygone days, Ruby Miller shares a cozy apartment with her single grandmother, Clara, the air rich with the scent of fresh-baked cookies. The sound of kids playing in the courtyard and Elvis Presley's soulful croons from an old radio are Ruby's treasured childhood memories. She works at Coffee Haven, a vintage cafe near City Hall, where murals tracing Yale's legacy and the aroma of roasted coffee pull patrons back to the 70s. Ruby's no spotlight stealer. In a frayed apron, hair tied neatly, she flashes a warm smile despite aching feet in tattered shoes. A struggling waitress, she funnels her meager tips into medicine for Clara, her family's flame, who instilled that honesty is a gift no one can snatch away. But today, that very honesty drags Ruby into a nightmare. During a hectic morning rush, Harold Grayson, a wealthy real estate titan in New Haven, barks at Ruby for slow coffee service. He leaves his sleek leather wallet on the table, and when he storms back, he's yelling, "It's vanished." The cafe's blurry security camera footage catches Ruby bending near his table. With no witnesses or clear defense, Ruby, a poor girl, is sued for stealing. Cops slap handcuffs on her in front of Clara and loyal customers. "She didn't steal. She was just scared," Clara murmurs, her voice drowned out. Branded a thief, Ruby stares down the barrel of ruin in a justice system that seems to bow to shaky evidence over truth. Blocks away in a posh law office, Victor Harlan, a compassionate lawyer, cloaked in a steely facade, represents corporate giants, famously declaring, "The law's no place for emotions." That morning, he ruffles a barista near the courthouse, griping about his latte's foam. "3 layers, not 2, he insists, yet slips a $10 tip, prompting a weary headshake. Divorced and estranged from his daughter, Victor lives a solitary life, unaware destiny's about to toss him a case that'll shake his world. At New Haven's small-town court, Ruby stands trembling in the courtroom, without a public defender or the means to hire counsel. Her eyes, wide and pleading, scan the room as if the world's turned its back. Innocent but judged, she grips Clara's weathered handkerchief, embroidered with hope, brushing away tears that won't stop. Grayson, flanked by a team of high-priced lawyers, accuses Ruby of tarnishing his reputation. The grainy security camera footage is flimsy but damning, ensnaring Ruby in a web of injustice that threatens to crush her. Victor, at court for another matter, catches a clerk's hushed comment. "Crying girl, no lawyer. She's got no shot." Peering through the courtroom's glass door, he spots Ruby clutching her handkerchief, shoulders quaking with quiet sobs. Her gaze, raw despair mixed with unyielding sincerity, strikes a chord, stirring memories of his mother, who stitched similar handkerchiefs before she passed. All it took was one person who believed in her, Victor reflects, not yet grasping how this moment will reshape their lives. Ruby, a poor girl wrongly accused, teeters on the edge of despair, her trust in fairness crumbling like the walls of her neighborhood. She has no inkling that Victor, a lawyer whose heart seems sealed shut, is about to step up with free legal help. Her quiet resilience ignites a spark in him, a sense of purpose he'd long buried under courtroom battles. In the stark chill of that New Haven courtroom, a story of justice, compassion, and second chances begins to unfold. Ruby's struggle is more than a legal fight. It's her chance to reclaim her dignity, to prove her truth. For Victor, it's an opportunity to rediscover that justice doesn't always come from a gavel. It starts with the heart. The courtroom buzzes with tension, but a faint glimmer of hope persists. Ruby's handkerchief, a symbol of Clara's enduring wisdom, keeps her grounded. Victor, moved by echoes of his mother's kindness, senses Ruby isn't just another case. As the gavel looms, their paths converge, setting the stage for emotional healing and redemption. Ruby, battered by life's unfair punches, and Victor, hardened by years of detachment, are poised to learn that truth and kindness can rewrite even the bleakest stories. This isn't just a courtroom drama. It's the opening scene of a romantic comedy story where a poor girl and a guarded lawyer might find not just justice, but a spark of connection in the heart of New Haven. In the cold hallway of New Haven's small-town court, sunlight spilled through high windows, glinting off the marble floor, framing Ruby Miller's lonely silhouette. Crying in court, she pressed against the wall, hands trembling as she clutched Clara's worn handkerchief, stitched with hope. Her tangled hair fell over tear-streaked eyes as she whispered, "She didn't steal. She was just scared. Grandma, I didn't take that wallet. I just want to go home." Her voice, frail in the vast courthouse, seemed drowned by a justice system pitted against a poor girl like her. Victor Harlan, in a sharp gray suit, hurried through the hall, briefcase heavy, his mind grumbling about a foamless latte from that morning. "Need to bring my own coffee," he muttered. A faint sob halted him. He glanced over, seeing Ruby, a crying girl with no lawyer, wiping tears with her tattered handkerchief. Her eyes, desperate yet sincere, reminded him of his mother, stitching handkerchiefs under a dim lamp, saying, "Hope holds on when everything else crumbles." Victor almost walked on, but Ruby's handkerchief slipped, drifting to the floor like a quiet cry for help. He bent to grab it, eyes on her, and tripped over a chair, papers spilling from his briefcase. "Oh, heck," he muttered, cheeks reddening as he scrambled to collect them. Ruby, despite her tears, let out a soft chuckle, her faint smile piercing the hall's gloom. "You okay?" she asked, voice shaky. Kneeling, Victor handed her the handkerchief. "Kid, this courthouse is tougher than that. Seen Law and Order?" he teased, lightening the mood. Ruby shook her head, confused. "I don't know. Will the justice system believe someone like me? I've got no lawyer. Nothing." Her eyes welled up. "My grandma needs me. I can't leave her alone." Her words struck Victor deep. He stood, straightening his suit, meeting her gaze. No one had ever defended her like that before, he thought, his mother's lonely fight with illness flashing back. His voice softened. "What's your name? Why think you don't deserve free legal help?" Ruby, stunned, stammered, "I'm Ruby. Ruby Miller. But who are you? I can't pay a lawyer." Victor gave a rare smile. "Victor Harlan. I don't always charge." In that moment, in the New Haven courtroom's chill, a compassionate lawyer connected with a wrongly accused girl. All it took was one person who believed in her, sparking Ruby's fight for justice in this heartfelt romantic comedy story. Ruby's handkerchief anchored her. Victor, stirred by his mother's memory, saw beyond the case. As the courthouse buzzed, their paths merged, hinting at emotional healing and second chances. Ruby, a poor girl, and Victor, a guarded soul, stood poised to prove justice doesn't always come from a gavel. It starts with the heart. In Victor Harlan's cluttered New Haven law office, towering stacks of case files loomed like a dare to any intruder. The memory of Ruby Miller, a poor girl wrongly accused, clung to his thoughts after their chance meeting in the New Haven courtroom. Taking her case wasn't a snap decision. "A compassionate lawyer like me shouldn't bother with petty cases," Victor muttered, glancing at his law degree framed on the wall. His old colleague Tom had mocked him over the phone. "You're playing public defender for a struggling waitress? Good luck keeping your reputation." Victor winced, but Ruby's desperate words, "My grandma needs me," echoed, a quiet nudge that justice doesn't always come from a gavel. It starts with the heart. After wrestling with doubt, Victor called Ruby. "Ms. Miller, I'm on your case. Free legal help. Meet me at Coffee Haven this afternoon." Ruby, wiping down tables in the cafe, nearly dropped her tray of mugs. You're serious? I can't thank you enough," she stammered, her eyes sparking with hope for the first time in days. Victor gave a dry chuckle. "Hold the thanks. I need every detail you've got." That afternoon, Coffee Haven hummed with the rich scent of roasted coffee and Frank Sinatra's smooth voice drifting from an old radio. Yale history murals glowed behind the counter, lending a cozy, nostalgic vibe. Ruby, still in her frayed apron, ushered Victor to a quiet corner table. She nodded toward the owner, Bernie, a gruff, silver-haired man with a no-nonsense scowl. "He's not big on outsiders, but I'll smooth it over," she whispered, flashing a mischievous grin. Victor, more at home in sleek boardrooms, felt like a fish out of water. "You sure?" I've faced corporate suits, but this guy looks like he eats lawyers for breakfast, he teased, drawing a giggle from Ruby. When Victor probed about the incident, Ruby's voice trembled. I just bent down to grab a coin under Mr. Grayson's table. I didn't see any wallet, I swear. Victor scribbled notes, his brow furrowing. The blurry security camera footage was their biggest obstacle. He asked to see the cafe's tapes. Ruby, after sweet-talking Bernie with a free coffee, got him to lead Victor to the back room where the recordings were stored. One camera angle was suspiciously distorted, as if tampered with. This isn't a glitch, Victor murmured, his instincts sharpening. Sensing a setup, Victor and Ruby turned detectives. Ruby introduced him to Jake, a chatty delivery guy who loved spinning tales of his hippie days. Jake dropped a hint about Lisa, another waitress, who resented Ruby's knack for winning over customers. She'd shoot daggers when folks tipped Ruby big, Jake said, shrugging. Victor, his old lawyer's gut kicking in, a retired lawyer returns vibe, asked Jake to dig into whether anyone messed with the cameras. Jake recalled Lisa hovering near the storage room that day. Then came a game changer. A Yale student, a regular who studied in the cafe's corner, had caught a video on his phone. It showed Grayson's young daughter playfully snatching the wallet and slipping it into her mom's bag, unnoticed by all. Sometimes the truth needs a voice louder than fear, Victor said, his gaze steady on Ruby. You're not fighting alone anymore. We'll prove you're innocent, but judged. Ruby, hope rising, clutched Clara's hope handkerchief, her lifeline. No one had ever defended her like that before, she thought, seeing Victor as a fatherly ally she'd never known. Victor, behind his stern exterior, felt a warmth stirring, a heart he'd thought long hardened. This coffee shop incident was more than a case. It was his shot to reconnect with the compassion he'd buried. In New Haven's soul, their battle for justice sparked a heartfelt romantic comedy story, hinting at second-chance romance and emotional healing for a poor girl and a guarded lawyer. The New Haven courtroom buzzed with tension, taut as a bowstring, as sunlight streamed through tall windows, casting golden beams across weathered wooden benches packed with spectators. Whispers swirled about Ruby Miller, a poor girl sued for stealing, her fate hanging in the balance. Across from her stood Harold Grayson's elite legal team, their tailored suits and steely glares exuding authority. Ruby, dwarfed in Clara's threadbare sweater, trembled at the defendant's table, her hands clutching a tattered handkerchief embroidered with hope. Once a crying girl with no lawyer, without a public defender or funds for counsel, she'd face despair alone. Now Victor Harlan, a compassionate lawyer, stood by her side, his vow of free legal help her lifeline. Sometimes the truth needs a voice louder than fear, he murmured to Ruby before the trial, his resolute eyes shielding her like a father guarding his own. Margaret Pierce, the plaintiff's seasoned lead attorney, opened with icy precision, projecting blurry security camera footage from Coffee Haven. It showed Ruby bending near Grayson's table. Ms. Miller, a struggling waitress, seized the chaos to steal my client's wallet, Pierce declared, her voice slicing through the room. The crowd stirred, skeptical glances pinning Ruby. The blow landed when Pierce called Lisa, an envious co-worker, to testify. With a practiced look of concern, Lisa swore she saw Ruby pocket the wallet and stash it. Ruby shook her head, tears brimming. She didn't steal. She was just scared, she whispered, her voice lost in the courtroom's hum. Victor at Ruby's side felt a pang in his chest. This emotional courtroom scene was a fight he couldn't lose. Rising, he tugged his tie, only to fumble a stack of papers, which scattered across the floor. The room chuckled, and Victor, cheeks flushing, grinned sheepishly. My apologies, Your Honor. Pro bono's got me rusty. The quip broke the ice, and Ruby's faint smile flickered, her isolation easing. Clearing his throat, Victor countered, Ms. Pierce would have you believe Ruby Miller, a poor girl scraping tips to buy medicine for her single grandmother, is a thief. That's the justice system's flaw, judging the book by its cover. He called for a new video, a surprise unearthed from a Yale student's phone, but first summoned Ruby to the stand. Her voice quavered as she recounted, I only picked up a coin under the table. I didn't touch any wallet. My grandma taught me honesty's the one thing no one can steal. Choking up, she added, "She needs me. I can't let her down." Ruby's raw truth silenced the room. An elderly judge dabbed her eyes, and Victor, watching, thought, no one had ever defended her like that before. The turning point came when Victor played the student's video. The courtroom screen lit up, revealing Grayson's young daughter playfully slipping the wallet into her mother's bag, unnoticed. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Pierce, ashen, stammered objections, but Victor cut through. This isn't just a coffee shop incident. It's about a wrongly accused girl and a justice system that nearly failed her. Ruby Miller is innocent but judged, and the truth has roared. To Ruby, he softened. All it took was one person who believed in her. The judge called the girl to testify. She bashfully admitted taking the wallet for fun and apologized to Ruby. Grayson, his bluster fading, bowed his head, acknowledging his mistake. Pierce, cornered, withdrew the suit. The judge's gavel fell, proclaiming Ruby not guilty. Cheers erupted. Clara in the back wept, whispering, "My girl's free." Ruby bolted to her, their embrace a tangle of tears and laughter. Victor, watching, felt a weight lift, not just from the case, but from his own guarded heart, as if he'd reclaimed a piece of himself. As the crowd spilled from the small-town court, Ruby grabbed Victor's hand. "Thank you for believing in me," she said, voice thick. Victor nodded, his rare smile warm. "You showed me the laws about people, not just rules." Under New Haven's golden afternoon glow, the story of a retired lawyer returns to grant a poor girl a second chance, shown as a testament to compassion and justice. Ruby's triumph wasn't merely legal, it restored her dignity, her faith. For Victor, it was a reawakening, proof that justice doesn't always come from a gavel. It starts with the heart. In this heartfelt romantic comedy story, a poor girl and a once-jaded lawyer found redemption, their bond hinting at middle-aged romance and emotional healing, a beacon of hope in New Haven's soul. Under New Haven's early autumn sun, cobblestone streets glowed, as if the town itself were smiling at Ruby Miller. Once a poor girl wrongly accused, she now walked lighter, though her borrowed sweater still frayed at the cuffs. Back at Coffee Haven, Ruby returned to work, her smile brighter, the weight of being a crying girl with no lawyer lifted. One afternoon, she wrapped Clara's handkerchief, embroidered with hope, in a small box and headed to Victor Harlan's new law office, the compassionate lawyer who'd given her free legal help. Victor, transformed by Ruby's case, left his corporate law firm to open a modest office near City Hall, dedicated to helping folks like Ruby navigate the justice system. When Ruby stepped in, she hesitated, offering the box. "Mr. Victor, this is from my grandma. Hope is her reminder that no one can steal your hope," she said, voice catching, eyes shining. Victor opened it, touching the handkerchief, a flood of memories about his mother washing over him. All it took was one person who believed in her, he thought, smiling warmly. "Thank you, Ruby, but I'm the one who owes you. You reminded me the laws about protecting people." To repay her, Victor offered Ruby a part-time job as his legal assistant. He taught her to read contracts, while Ruby, with her endearing innocence, showed him how to brew Coffee Haven's perfect blend. "Stir slow, like you're telling a story," she teased, laughing. Victor shook his head, grumbling playfully, "I'm a lawyer, not a barista." Those simple moments, warm and unpretentious, wove a bond like father and daughter, their connection a quiet thread in this heartfelt romantic comedy story. Spurred by Victor's encouragement, Ruby enrolled in evening law classes. Each night she studied beside Clara under a dim lamp, embracing the second chance life had given her. Victor, inspired by Ruby's resilience, began mending his relationship with his daughter Emma. Drawing from Ruby's case, he wrote Emma a handwritten letter, sharing how it rekindled his sense of family. "No one had ever defended her like that before," Emma read, tears falling, prompting her to call her father for the first time in years. As New Haven's golden dusk settled, Ruby and Victor found more than justice. They discovered hope and humanity. Justice doesn't always come from a gavel. It starts with the heart, and their hearts were now open to new beginnings. Ruby, once battered by a coffee shop incident, stood taller, her dignity restored. Victor, a retired lawyer, returns, rediscovered purpose. His once guarded soul softened. Their story, rooted in compassion, hinted at a middle-aged romance of mutual respect. A feel-good story of emotional healing that resonated through New Haven's cobblestone heart. A year later, New Haven's cobblestone streets basked in golden sunset, and Coffee Haven glowed during a small party hosted by Ruby Miller. Once a poor girl wrongly accused, she stood poised in a simple dress, clutching her part-time law program diploma. Victor Harlan, the compassionate lawyer who gave her free legal help, sat front row with his daughter Emma, clapping heartily. Clara, her single grandmother, wiped tears, beaming at her granddaughter. Ruby took the podium, voice quivering yet vibrant. I was a crying girl with no lawyer, clueless about the justice system, until Mr. Victor believed in my tears. All it took was one person who believed in her. She held up Clara's handkerchief embroidered with hope. I'll pass this to someone needing hope, because justice doesn't always come from a gavel. It starts with the heart. The room erupted, and Bernie, the cafe's gruff owner, hollered, "Free coffee for all." In the final scene, Ruby, Victor, Emma, and Clara stood outside Coffee Haven, where a news sign, funded by Victor, read, "Hope brews here." What a wonderful world drifted from the old radio, blending with their radiant smiles. New Haven, through this second chance after a coffee shop incident, became a beacon of kindness and hope, a heartfelt romantic comedy story of redemption and emotional healing. Sometimes it only takes one person who truly sees you to change the course of your life. Ruby walked into court as a poor girl accused of a crime. She walked out with her name cleared and her dignity restored. And Victor, the man who once believed only in evidence, discovered the quiet power of empathy. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment below. Have you ever been misjudged or stood up for someone when no one else would? Until next time, stay kind, stay strong, and never underestimate the power of a single tear.